Peter Anderson.
Hey, welcome everybody. Here we are. Welcome to the show. All right, I had some technical difficulties earlier. Had to fix it. It was that kind of started the show a little late, but we're gonna get right into it. Um, the topic today is why people think white people are racist. I know you guys heard that before, not just from me. I know you guys heard it from many different places. So I want to ask y'all to call in to get on this Zoom call and tell me what y'all think, what you disagree with. Why do people think white people are racist? And we just want to talk about it, have an open discussion about it, and then we go from there. And then you share your views. I'll ask some questions. And that's really what I want. I want to hear from you guys tonight, and then we'll go from there. I have a piece of an article that I want to read as well, but we'll get into that. So let's get into it. All right. Let's see. Let's get this set together. Just waiting for people to get in here. Waiting for people to get in here on the Zoom call. Just a moment here. Text. Alright, don't forget to subscribe. Go on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and share.
Peter Anderson.
Alright, let's see. Also, make sure that you go follow me on Instagram at Peter Anderson Show.
Peter Anderson.
Catch it back. Okay, we're back. All right. Yeah. Like I said, we had some noise technical difficulties that I was working on. My computer wanted to update on me today, actually, and then it like resetted some settings. So, let's Zoom here. Head over to Zoom. We'll get started here in a second. Waiting for more people to get on. Go ahead and share the video. Let people know we're on right now. Okay, let me do that. Let's see here. Let's see. Wait for more shares. Get my shares up here. Go ahead, put it on here. Source. All right, while we waiting, go ahead and support my channel. Send a cash app to $ Pete Anders. Or if you don't want to send whatever it is, $1, $5, whatever it is, this stuff costs money to do, and to keep doing this consistently costs money to do it. So, and if you don't want to do that, you can also just support my album. I have an album out right now called MTV Sundays. It stands for Movie, TV, Video, Game Sundays. And it's just stuff that I'm into. And yeah, just go check it out. It's on all streaming platforms everywhere. So go check it out.
Peter Anderson.
Okay. Two more things here. Okay. I picked this time so you guys can put the kids to bed. People on the West Coast can join in and tune in as well. So I picked this time for that reason. So definitely share during this time. Share the video. And what I'm about to do right now, I'm gonna go ahead and read this to get you guys started, get everything started. Read this little article that I was reading today. I didn't even finish the article. I was distracted by this other article, this follow-up article from something else that I posted last year that got everybody up in roars about it. But okay, let me see. It's right here. All right, so the topic today is we're talking about. It really derives from a post that I posted, and it was an article that I posted, and it wasn't to quote unquote shame anybody, but because the article was so bold and people don't like to read, they got offended by it when they should have read the article, because they were like, "Oh, Peter, you shared that article, you hate white people." And I'm like, no, I don't hate white people, because there was plenty of white people that read the article and got what the article was saying and wasn't offended. It might have was tough to read, but they weren't offended by it. And that's what I want to talk to you about. It derived from that article. That article was entitled "White People Are Racist," or I have the follow-up article here. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, so the article was it says it was updated. It says, "Yes, my dear, all white people are racist." And that's what got people up in roars about the title. And the title, I don't agree, quote unquote, with that statement just by itself, but I do agree with what was in the article. And it's a 13-minute read. The article was done by Marley K, a blogger named Marley K, and she was pretty much, this is what she was saying. She was saying that if you're white and you don't stand up against racism, that means that stand by and allow it to happen. Therefore, by turn, you kind of benefit from it. So because you benefit from racism, that makes you a racist. And so there's more to that. There's not just that. There's more to that. It's not just not. I'm not saying it out of being mean because I just want to be mean to people just because I don't have nothing better else to do. I really have a passion to try to get us to have these difficult conversations so we can get past what's going on here. This is a opportune time in America. You see what's going on. You see people constantly protesting police violence. You see people of color constantly trying to have their voices heard, and then you get a silly comment like, "Shoot, he got shot by a police officer, or he got done wrong." We experienced racism too. I remember one time in second grade, a black kid looked at me mean, and I experienced racism. You experienced racism. What makes you so important? We all experience racism. Everybody can be racist. How convenient. White people in America hold the power, but everybody else can be racist against white people. I mean, racism just doesn't stand alone. And I'm going to break down what racism is and why I want to have this conversation with you guys, because it's not just it's not just a simple conversation. You can't break this conversation down in just one statement, in just a title of an article. You have to really dive deep into this conversation because it's going to step on some toes, because it's not something that you can learn in school and that our kids learn in school, or that you ever learned in school. This is a conversation that is deep. This is a conversation that that needs truth, because we've been lied to. And I'm sorry, white people. I'm going to burst your bubble tonight. You've been lied to. I've been lied to. But the problem is that I've been lied to, and I realized I've been lied to, and I tried to come against that lie. A lot of you white people don't want to come against the lie. You want to stay in your lie and just stay there, and then fight it to teeth the nail, and then say, I'm not racist. I'm fighting to uphold white supremacy, but I'm not racist. So, but I digress. Let's go into the piece of the article. I want to explain to you guys what racism is, what racism is not, and then I also want to explain to you how people think that white people are racist. And then when I go from there, you guys should be on the call. I'm looking at it now. You guys should start coming on the call and wanting to just give input and why it's wrong or why is it right. So I'm really looking for a call from anybody. White people could call in, black people call in, any person could call in and give their view. A lot of people want to post on the web, but they don't want to call in or have a conversation. And I'm here to listen, because I'm here to learn. I'm here to share information and open up that dialogue to a real conversation. I like to fancy myself as I'm a conversationalist. So I love to have truthful and honest conversations that we can have. Like I said, I didn't just start this YouTube channel, but I do music and other things. So, and I just wanted to do this because it's a passion of mine, and I want to do it where I can consistently do it and actually open up that conversation to deeper things that we need to have this conversation now, so we can get more people to understand where people of color are coming from. And honestly, though, we want to have honest conversations. We don't want you to hide behind anger, hide behind different things like that. We want you to have an honest conversation. And that's what I'm about, just having an honest conversation. But let me get into this article, this piece of an article. All right. And this article was done It was done last year, and it was done by Stephen O. Roberts. Um, he's a psychologist, and okay, let's see here. This is the piece that I want to read. Okay, it says in the paper, which is available online and will appear in an upcoming issue of American Psychologist, the Journal of the American Psychological Association. The scholars contend that racism is a deeply American problem and identify based on a review of prior research published on the topic. 7 factors contribute to racism in the U.S. today, and it goes the list about 7 different factors and way racism affects us today. But I do just want to read the next paragraph. Um, it says people often define racism as disliking or mistreating others on the basis of race. That definition is wrong, said Roberts. Now, this is an educated man. I don't know about you, but I mean, he's. I'm pretty sure he studied this topic and issue um, extensively because he gets paid to do stuff like this. He he's part of an association, so whatever. Um, Let me read that part again. People often define racism as disliking or mistreating others on the basis of race. Okay? That definition is wrong, said Roberts, who directs the Social Concept Lab, part of the psychology department in the School of Humanities and Sciences. Racism is a system of advantage based on race. Racism is a system of advantage based on race. It is a hierarchy. It is a pandemic. Racism is so deeply embedded within U.S. minds and U.S. society that it is virtually impossible to escape. You can't be like, oh, let me dodge racism, let me dodge it. No, because it's so embedded in the U.S. construct and in our minds. Because they say don't indoctrinate us with CRT, with critical race theory, but actually they've been indoctrinating us with whitewashed history. Let's just be honest. That's what's been happening. So I just want to let y'all know that the definition that we've been using, that Webster definition, that's whitewashed too. Let me read it again. Racism is a system of advantages based on race. It is a hierarchy. It is a pandemic. Racism is so deeply embedded within U.S. minds and U.S. society that it is virtually impossible to escape. Now, let me tell you what, before we get on these calls, let me tell you what racism is. It's pretty, in a nutshell, racism is white supremacy. It's not just a U.S. issue. Burst your bubble again, it's a global issue when white Europeans try to colonize the whole world. It's a global issue. It's not just a one-off, oh, okay, there's sections of the U.S. that people uphold white supremacy. It's ingrained into our culture. It's ingrained into our education. It's ingrained into our history. People like to say that this country wasn't founded on racism. And I would say that, yes, it was. It was exactly founded on racism. I mean, the whole country was built on the backs of enslaved Africans that in turn did it for free, that in turn fought for their own freedom, got freed and then wasn't compensated for doing free labor for like 250 years. These are facts. This is not my opinion. These are facts. Even though we like to use alternative facts, that's a thing, but it's not. It shouldn't be a thing, because what in the world is alternative facts? Yeah. So alternative facts, whatever. But anyways, so we like to alter history to make it sound not so bad. Pretty much in school, you learn white people created everything and invented everything. They didn't. Nothing was actually there until white people discovered it. Slavery was a thing, but it was something that needed to happen until white people decided to let black people free, because they just woke up one day and said, "Hey, here you go, you free. We don't need you anymore. Thank you for working for us for free for generation upon generations for over 200 something years," which is, even in the 13th Amendment, slavery still continue on to this day. But that's another discussion for another video. I'm not gonna get into that right now. But I want to see what y'all think. If y'all think I'm wrong, I just want to ask y'all questions. If y'all think I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me, and I'm gonna ask you questions about what's wrong with what I said. You tell me what you think what racism is. And part of it is, let me say this though. This is why people think white people are racist. Not because they, burn crosses on people's lawns and, go hang people from the tree and go to a original meaning of a picnic. Just because they don't do that, they think, oh, well, I'm not racist. No, do you stand up to your boss at your job if he does something racist? No, you probably don't. I mean, then you are allowing white supremacy to continue on, and therefore you're racist because of that. You are benefit from a system called racism, because racists only benefit from a system that's called racism. So if you benefit from racism but you're not racist, what are you? Just a beneficiary twice removed of racist? What are we doing here? This is let me just tell you this. Let me tell you guys this. This is what racism is. It's white supremacy. Period. Point. It always has been. It's never been how much can black people be racist against white people. It's never been that. There's never been a time in our history where we hung white people on a tree and we burned crosses on the lawn and we made laws to disenfranchise white people, to keep them down, and then we segregated and kept white people into the slums and ghettos of our major cities where people don't want to live. And then we over policed them and made them and only move all the jobs to suburbs, to nicer areas, and then have black people living in nice areas where they're gated communities where white people can't get into them for safety purposes. Like we're the violent ones, but in generations of white people have lynched and murdered and killed people and colonized and raped and killed and did all these kind of stuff. But black people are deemed the violent ones, the uncivilized ones, the ones that don't have a heart, the thugs, the gangsters, the N-words. You see where I'm going with this? It's always been white supremacy. It started back in the early days of before this place was even called America, where they was trying to colonize. They were stealing land from Indians and killing Indians and doing all this kind of stuff. They decided to cultivate the land. They couldn't use the Indians, so they had to go to Africa, and they couldn't do it themselves because white people don't do too well in the sun all day. So they had to use people with melanin skin to do to do the work on the fields, and so they develop a mindset of, okay, we can do this because black people are lesser than. They started putting out propaganda about how black people in some parts are related to monkeys. They're closer to the monkey family, so therefore we can enslave them. And that's wrong. That's not the truth. But it was perpetuated so long, not being checked, because if we tried to even learn how to read or write, we were killed. We were made examples of. So it was just perpetuated for hundreds of years and embedded in society to where when black people became free, they were enslaved. Even still after slavery, to Jim Crow laws and black codes. And that's a whole different story. But what I do want to say is it's always been white supremacy. I'm not white. So how can I benefit from white supremacy? I can't benefit from white supremacy. I can be successful and work hard in spite of white supremacy, but it ain't because of it. And it didn't help me any, because racism has always been white supremacy, to keep white people supreme. When you look at America, what is the national race of America? We got this when we were little. White. White is the national race. White people still say it today, that white is the national race. It's all about keeping white supreme than others. Irish people weren't considered white. A lot of these people that are considered white today wasn't white before. They saw that the numbers were dwindling, so they decided to make Irish people white and Italian people white. They started adding on different people. The Celtics, they made them white. They weren't before. They were just other. And then there was just white and black. But the other and black started becoming more than white. They were afraid that the others might become superior in the country. So they adopted people to protect white supremacy, the whiteness of the white supremacy. So let me just break it down simple. White supremacy equals racism. White supremacy equals racism. The system that upholds white supremacy, white superiority. I'm not white. I'm not superior. I can't be superior. I can't be a superior white man no matter how much of the American dream I want. I can't change my color to a white man and become a superior white man. I don't care how much of the piece of the pie I can get. It doesn't matter. I can never change my skin into become a superior white man. That could never happen. So black people can be prejudiced. Black people can be bigoted, can have implicit bias, but black people cannot be racist. Asian people can't be racist. Asian is not a race, but let's continue. Hispanics can't be racist. That's a white thing. And I'm sorry that that's so terrible and that bursts so many bubbles, but it's the truth. So now let's get past that point. And I want to open up the call here a little bit, because I don't want to be on here long, but I want to open up the calls. Let me take a look at the calls. Let's go here. All right, don't forget to follow my Instagram at Peter Anderson Show. Okay.
Peter Anderson.
Let's go to Zoom. See what's going on in Zoom. Okay. And I'm going to make this person in. Hello. Hey, Levette. How you doing today?
Hey, Peter.
Hey, hey, what's going on? Are you
I'm
playing
doing well.
are you playing YouTube in the background? Can you mute it for me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hold on
please.
1 second.
Yes.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Okay, we gonna let it come on. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. I just muted you for a second. Unmute yourself.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
We good?
Yeah, we
Can you hear
good.
me?
We here. Yeah, we here.
Okay.
We here.
So, what we talking about?
You paying attention? What you got for me? What you got for me?
um, why do people think white people are racist?
Right. What you
Very,
got?
very interesting topic. I don't think, I don't think all white people are racist. And I
Hmm.
listened to you say um, white supremacy is racism. Well, that's not a unknown fact.
Hmm.
First of
Okay.
all, I don't think that I don't think anyone who thinks that white supremacy is
Peter
okay.
Anderson.
Um, I don't think anyone thinks. I know a lot of people that are involved in white supremacy that they think that they are superior because that's the definition of white supremacy, the belief that white people are a superior race.
Hmm.
Um, However, when you look at history and you look at modern day,
Hmm.
I am a firm believer in, and I have this conversation with quite a few people, that we as a culture, before we can go and downplay racism,
Hmm.
discrimination, prejudice, all of that falls under racism.
Hmm.
However, you have to separate um, the white supremacy part of it because it is separate to a point. Example,
Okay.
if I say, as an African American woman, if I go and I say, I hate white people,
Right.
I am putting everyone as a stereotype in one category.
Right.
So, therefore, my better verbiage would be I hate white supremacy.
Okay.
Um, African Americans, we shoot ourselves in the foot more times than not. And this isn't the only topic I've listened to you. I follow your Facebook post.
Hmm.
I see how you end up in a lot of situations with people. And I stay quiet.
Hmm.
Does that mean that I do not support a cause to unification? No, that means that I pick my battles.
Right. Right.
Um, I pick my battles because of the position that I'm in, and I don't think I have a lot of white colleagues. Now, will I say that my white colleagues are white supremacists? Hell no,
Right. Right.
because they're not.
Right.
Um, some people are just not educated. Let's
Right.
just let's just be honest.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Um, and, and I concur. Um, you know, some people are just not educated, and I get that. Um, but there's so much information out there now. Can we say education is an excuse anymore? I mean, can we do that? Can we say it's so much information out there if you want to go find it? You can literally type in Google. Hold on, you can literally type in Google and get information.
You can. You can. We can say to a point education is an excuse. My best friend is a white lady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Um, she did not know the things that she knows now
Right.
until she met me.
Okay.
Um, so many things. Example, this weekend I went out of town and I'm not going to name the restaurant that I went to,
Okay.
but I went to this restaurant and I'm a firm believer. When I go out of town, I go out of town and I don't eat the normal stuff that I eat where I'm from. So I went to this well-renowned restaurant, well, diner, and I sent my food back 3 times. My friend said to me, "Why is it the only African American woman in this restaurant had to send her food back 3 times?"
Mm.
Now, because of who I am and the things that I've been through in my story,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pay the fact that I was the only colored woman in the restaurant.
Right.
All in my mind is I'm on a small vacation. I'm just wanting to go grab something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
She pointed that out to me and said to me, I felt some kind of way. She got mad before I could get mad.
Mm.
So sometimes it's who you know.
Right.
There are people that I know, most of my clientele are Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm thankful
Mm-hmm.
because they check spin just like, a black person's check.
Right.
But education, I will say, is some of the reason, but you have to want to know. You have to want to know this information. If you don't have a reason to go and look up Jim Crow, if you don't have a reason to go and look up um, what actually happened in 1865,
Right.
if you don't have a reason
But
to go and look these things up,
mm-hmm.
then why would you?
Let me. Okay. So let me ask a question with that. You ask a question. I would say I'm gonna answer that question, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. Um, I mean, I will say that the reason why you would go look that up is because of the atmosphere and what's going on. You're being sensitive of what's going on right now. Now there's people are coming to the realization that this thing has been happening for forever, and
Right,
and now you're not ignorant to that fact. So you ignorance now you know. So now you're accountable for what you know now. So now you got
right.
to take your knowledge of what you know now. No matter how much you try to, people know that no matter how many times they try to dismiss that conversation, uh, they know, and I say that because, and I want to be really particular about what I say here. I know I've been people to have told me in the past um, that I believe that every white person is racist, and I want to clear that up. I don't believe you're racist if you're white, if you are anti-racist. That means that you're kicking against this white supremacy system. That means that you found it within yourself to know what's going on in this world right now as we speak. You know what's going on. And you decide to say, to hell with that. Let me kick down white supremacy and let me come against it because I want to make it equal and fair for everyone. Now, if you just are silent, if you just passive and you just nice to people, and this is what I have a problem with: people being nice to everyone. I mean, it's better than not being nice, but everybody being nice to everyone. So when that happened in the restaurant with you, let's go with that, and your white friend was just like being, if she was being passive and like, and that's it, and not address it, because white people have the power to address it better than black people, because they hold seats of power that can address it. If she didn't address it and she was passive, she just kind of catered to white supremacy. And so I'm not saying that you, by default, that she just took form in a racist act. There's the same people that used to watch people get hanged in the tree and didn't say anything. The same people. So, just because I'm just gonna let white supremacy just reign, and the same people that are in the workplace that sees that a black person didn't get that promotion, even though they were more qualified, or if they did get that promotion, they didn't get the same pay that other people got getting that promotion. And these are statistical facts that black people don't get paid as much as their white counterparts in the workplace working the same job. And you being a white person, being in a position of power, seeing that going on, and you don't say nothing because you want to be nice to even the racists, you're practicing racism, and that's just plain as day. And I'm so sad that you have to find out by a black man that's racist, but it is. You kind of catering to and allowing white supremacy to continue when you don't say nothing about it. The only way in my mind, and the only way in a lot of people's mind, because they're educating themselves, and why people think white people are racist, is because they're not seeing the majority of white people standing against racism. Or
Peter, did you just say to me, "I'm sorry, you had to find out from a black man"?
No, I'm just saying, not to
What
you. I'm saying,
racism?
oh no, I'm talking to the audience. Yeah, I'm talking to the audience. So you're part of this show too. You're my guest on the show, but I'm actually talking in general to the audience, not you. But you already knew. That did sound kind of funny, but
Like,
no,
wait a minute.
right? But no, honestly, I was talking to the audience, and I would say that I say that only way that white people cannot be racist is they have to be anti-racist. Even, and I'm sorry that they have to hear this, even though that they are born into a system that they had no control of, but the system caters and excels white people just by the color of their skin. And I'm sorry.
And this is true. I've done a couple of experiments, and it has been proven. You know, I applied for a job once,
Mm-hmm.
and a friend of mine who was a white woman applied for the same job.
Right.
Friend of mine that was an Indian male applied for the job.
Mm-hmm.
He and I didn't get the position.
Mm.
Keep in mind the qualifications were exact, the experience was exact. These were people that I had worked with at a big company,
Right.
and she refused the job, and we called the company out, and we said what we needed to say to them, as far as we asked questions on why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my male counterpart, he and I both wrote, we wrote a letter to the executive director and the board chair to find out why we were not offered the position. The response was a very vague response. The response was, um, it was something about the interview.
Okay.
That's exactly what they said. It was something about
Wow.
interview. But they told he and I the same thing. So I get it, but when you look at today versus back then, it to me it falls along that it's when we talk about racism, and I love the fact that you do have uncomfortable conversations because not many people will be bold enough to just say fuck it
Right.
and let's just talk about it. Racism comes in so many forms though.
Mhm.
Education, I fault our school systems,
Mhm.
um, because our school systems have taken away so much education um, from our students and our young adults to where they're just lost. Most of them do just what you said. They will Google it. They will, you know, uh, go look it up or ask questions. And people sometimes have that mindset. Nine times more often than not, they have that mindset. If it does not affect me or impact me directly,
Right.
I don't want to get involved.
Right.
And in some cases, um, that's a good thing. You know, you may pick your battles. However, in most cases, it can be detrimental because whether it impacts you indirectly or directly, you should stay vigilant in knowledge.
Mhm. So
You should stay vigilant in the things that you know so that when you do see something going on, you know how to approach the situation and handle it. Now, me personally, I I treat everyone the same until I shouldn't, if that
right.
makes sense.
Right.
You know, I give everyone the BOTD and till I don't have to, or until you've proven to me that my best interest is none of your concern.
Mhm.
So if I go and I say, I want to hire you to do a job
Mhm.
or to work for me, I don't hire people based on race, sex, religion, none of that. I hire you based on the job that you do.
Right.
Now, I don't give a damn whether you're black, white, green, purple with pink polka
Right.
dots.
Right.
If you can't do the job that I've trained you to do, your ass is done.
Right.
So, and I say this because I don't think that it's just a white thing or a black thing. I think it's a people thing.
Okay.
I think people have gotten so
Well, expound on that. Um.
I'm about to.
Yeah.
I think people have become so mundane to if it don't apply, let it fly.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like our youth are actually educating the adults
Right.
on racism,
Right.
white supremacy, slavery. Our education system has failed to a point to where I remember in school I had the options to take up, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am.
Okay.
I had the options to take home ec, wood shop, uh, what is it, auto mechanics, and it was one more, I think plumbing.
Mhm.
Those were my options as far as what my elective for my 9 weeks was going to be. Now you have taken out uh, critical race theory, you've taken out black history,
Right.
you've taken out religion in school,
Why
You're taking
and why do you think that? Why do you think that's taking place? They fighting so hard to take that stuff out.
because why when you when you dive oh Jesus when you dive into these topics and you dive into these things, in some parts I feel like it's because they're trying to prepare children for the more modern age as far as computers and that kind of thing, but I also believe
But
that
why are they taking out Black History Month? Why are they taking out?
I'm getting into
Right, right.
that. I do believe it's about stagnating education. We don't want you to know because we don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations. We don't want you to know because we do not know how to handle those uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
When I was in school, as a criminal justice major, one of the one of the topics I had was religions of the world. Uh, we did have critical thinking, which covered critical race theory. It covered victimology, criminology, and that was another reason for the religions of the world because based on certain religions did and carried out certain acts because of their religious beliefs. Certain races, unfortunately, it was stereotyped, but it was broken down to give you a better understanding. So you didn't go and you think all white people are racist because if I put that out there, then I might as well say all black people are thugs and hoodlums. When that's not the case, we have so many educated African American men
Right.
and women. We have so many educated,
So
powerful.
so let me
Um,
right, and I get that. So let me interject right there. Cuz cuz I really get that. I get the whole notion of, everybody's every white person's not racist. Yeah, you're right. Every person's not racist because there's a lot of white people that are anti-racist. That's why they're not racist. I think, if only racist people uh can benefit from the racist system. Okay, so racism is white supremacy. So if racism is white supremacy, I think part of why they want to take out stuff in schools, they want to maintain white supremacy. They don't want to distort the minds of their children that's going to uphold this system to white supremacy. They might hold some white nationalist views. And that's what they want to take out this stuff. They think it's going to make kids hate each other, but I think that what they're afraid of is that their kids will hate them for not standing up against racism. That's what's
well,
been happening.
you have children now um, that do stand up to their parents.
Right.
Racism to me is racism and white supremacy to me are not the same.
Okay.
Um, I believe white supremacy is a demon all in its own.
So
Um,
what's the difference between racism and white supremacy?
well, when you look at by definition,
Which
when you look
which definition? Which difference? So I can look at put my mind to that definition because there's several. But go
I
ahead.
I look at not just Webster. I look at
Okay.
Read. I looked at read University of Notre Dame definition, and when you say white supremacy, it's saying that the belief that white people are a superior race. Now, those to me are your groups, your KKKs, your who is that other group
So
that's out here?
yeah, so I mean, white nationalists, Nazis, neo-Nazi sympathizers.
Right,
Yeah, so
right.
so let me ask this though. So if we're saying that racism and white supremacy are different, then what is what's your definition of racism?
My definition would be a prejudice or discrimination or an antagonistic direction
So what's prejudice? What's
Prejudice.
bigoted?
Well, bigotry is the depiction of one in particular. For example, well, I mean,
It could be
when you
many
look at
things,
it,
right? It could be many
right,
things. Yeah,
same thing as uh, prejudice falls next to racism. However,
they're not
I
the
know
same.
they're not the same, but because I know African Americans who are prejudiced.
Right.
Now,
I do too.
I don't associate with those people because of their bigotry, if you want to put it out there, um, because that's not who I am. So you associate with the people that mirror yourself in so many words. So if that's just like saying, I want $1 million or I want this $3 million house. Well, if you want this $3 million house, you need to start going and looking at $3 million homes. If you want people to be on the same page as far as education against uh, racism,
Right.
white supremacy, you need to educate people as far as what the definitions actually
So
mean.
what is it? What's the difference? I'm just trying to find what's the difference, and we can move from there. I might have a follow up question from there.
Well,
So
the definition with racism, it's race with ism on it, of course. It's separating a group of people based on color.
I thought that was I thought that's
No, no.
colorism. What's colorism then?
Well, I've never heard of colorism.
Yeah, that's colorism. That's a thing. So that's what I'm saying. I think that it's got distorted because first of all, we live in a world that is filled with white supremacists, where it comes from everybody, the people that own this country, that run this country are white supremacists, and they believe that maintaining that superiority above all else, you could prime example, you can look at the Capitol riots, the insurrection on January 6th. You know why nobody got shot? You know why nobody went to jail that day? You know
Yeah, I know
why
why.
they right.
I do know
So
why.
therefore we believe whiteness above all else. That's white supremacy. Like
But see,
when a
hold
black
on, hold on, hold on, Peter.
hold on.
You
Let me
say
say this
that.
thought. Let me say this thought.
Okay,
Because
go
you have
ahead.
a you have somebody that's white, and you have somebody that's black. Even or even people, black people, or we are taught that we should believe the white person over the black person.
I'm
They
not
did a
taught
study.
that.
Well,
I wasn't taught that.
but you didn't get that it was better to be white growing
No,
up.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that white people owned everything and ran everything, and you didn't understand that.
No, it wasn't that I didn't understand it. My parents didn't teach me that. My parents taught me that you be kind to everyone. You treat people how you want to be treated.
Right,
You carry yourself
right,
the way you want people to respect you.
and I get
I
that.
come from a military family.
Right, me too. I
So,
came. My dad was military too, and I get that. I get that. But
so I wasn't, even in school, I wasn't taught that.
you didn't
I
you didn't get the subtleness of it though. You didn't get that from what was being taught. Like they didn't teach the
my
real
teachers were
history.
black. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you probably got they probably pushed it in some little. Okay. So all right. So then you're not. But the average black child, the average child, period, they're automatically gonna get that story. They're gonna get, hey, white people own everything for the most part. They're superior in this country.
Then if you say that, if you by you saying that though, you also have to hold African Americans accountable.
Okay, for what?
We as a race will create something. Example, you have the straightening comb created by a black woman.
Okay.
She sold this idea
Okay.
for a check.
Okay.
So it was no longer hers.
Right.
So a white man bought this idea.
Okay.
and publicized it to African Americans.
Okay.
So how is that not our fault? Because once you sign on the dotted line, better example, if I created a barbecue sauce,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, I created a barbecue sauce, it won awards. People asked me to to market it, sell it in stores, this, that, and another. So I decide I'm gonna sell this sauce to a white man
Mm-hmm.
or woman or company. And this company gives me a check and says, these are the terms of our agreement. Now, I'm not saying I would do this. And yes, I know you'll probably come back and say, well, that's on you. But just say that I took this check because it was a large amount of money.
Right.
And these people took my sauce, my own recipe,
Right.
and they went and put it on shelves and they marketed. So
Right.
now this company is making money off the backs of me, but I'm not even known as the person that created the sauce.
Okay.
So I say that because we end up selling out sometimes ourselves.
I get that. I mean,
We do not when you go to places like New York,
have you seen a
you
million
go
dollars in cash before?
yes, I have. I've seen $3 million in cash.
Have you seen $25 million in cash?
No,
In
I don't need
cash.
that kind of money.
But what I'm saying,
Everything.
people have a price. That's with everybody. White people, black people, Hispanic people, all kinds of people
But
have.
my point was, we
Right.
shoot ourselves in the foot
Right. Of
because
course.
we do not keep it. We do not keep it within ourselves,
Right.
within our own commune. When you go to
Right.
places like New York, Washington D.C., and I say these places because these are very big, monumental cities.
You don't think that's by design though?
By what is by design?
That what you're saying. You don't think that's by design. You don't think that just poof happened. You think somebody thought about doing that? It was by design. You don't think it was just it just happened. So it was that's what it was.
That New York and Washington are monumental cities? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Well, no, I'm just saying like what it was as far as by design, as far as what we're talking about.
Well, I don't think it, no, because you are an individual. You make your own choices and your own decisions. So if I chose not to sell my sauce to this white company and I chose to sell it to Peter Anderson, Peter
Mhm.
Anderson is black man.
Right.
Peter Anderson is going to keep it in the African American culture and community.
He might sell it just like you for a higher price.
Then that makes Peter Anderson a sellout.
That's what I'm saying. But still, either way, what I'm saying, I get that people sell out. I get that, but
But my initial
that's
your
not
initial
that's not
question
even the issue.
your initial question to me though was, um, do I think that when I said African Americans shoot ourselves in the foot, and you said how, and I was just giving you a small example of how. We talk about, you mentioned, white why do people think white people are racist?
Hmm.
But then you also said racism is white supremacy.
Hmm.
Well, if you break that down, there are two separate definitions. And I know you went into colorism. I didn't know anything about that. So that's a word that's new to me that I will be looking up.
Okay.
Um, I still do not believe that if my Caucasian friends and counterparts, well, first of all, I can't say that because my Caucasian friends and counterparts can be just as hood as I can be at times. So if I'm in a bad situation, they're going to be there and they're going to have my back. This
Right.
has been proven. However, we can't say that. Well, you can say, but I just don't agree that all white people that do not take up for African Americans
Mm-mm. It's
are
not.
white supremacists.
No, I'm not saying that for African Americans. I'm just saying that anybody that stands by idly and just lets white supremacy reign in their presence and don't say nothing, it's implicit. It's like I'm driving a car to go rob a bank, but I didn't go in the car. I didn't go into the bank and rob it. I just drove the vehicle. I was there. You get what I'm saying? I'm allowing it to go. I can stop it right there in the tracks. But instead of that, whether it's to self-preserve yourself, to look a certain way in front of your white coworkers, to not look like you're not going against the grain. I,
I don't think most. I don't. I
that's
think
racist. That's racist.
I still think it becomes human decency because if you are a decent person, now let's just be real and realistic. If you are a decent person, you're not going to stand by and let anything happen
Right.
negatively.
So therefore, you're playing into the system. It's the same way those people was used to watch people during a picnic where they used to put black bodies on spigots and barbecue them, and then
You
take
gotta
pictures
look
with
at
a
the. You
body.
gotta.
Hold
You
on,
gotta
hold on,
look.
hold
You gotta
on.
look at the time frame, though,
Yeah,
Peter.
but what I'm saying is, you got white people that were sitting by, not doing anything. You're implicit. At
But
least,
you
at
gotta
least
look.
say something. At
You
least,
still gotta look at your time frame. That's just like,
you gotta look at a time frame.
yeah. You
What,
when is the
what do
last
you
time
mean?
you seen an African American on the grill?
All right, but people's careers get lost. Whole generations losing houses and stuff because somebody didn't speak up at their workplace for that black person, or for because they saw systemic racism happening, and they just was like, well, that ain't my fault, and I want to be nice to everybody, including the person that's being doing the racist act. There's a difference between being a racist and doing a racist act. There's a difference between being a white supremacist and allowing white supremacy to reign so you can still benefit from it, but you don't want to be implicit with the action of white supremacy. But you still benefit from white supremacy, but you don't want to be complicit in the damaging that it's doing. Like I want to get the bank money when I'm driving the car, but I don't say that I robbed the bank. But guess what? We gonna split the money because I drove the getaway vehicle. I want the prize of white supremacy, but I don't want the repercussions that come with us saying, "Hey, that's racist." Oh,
But
hey,
that's
that's
politics. When you really look at it,
right.
that's
And
politics.
I
So
call BS on it. So when people talk about, hey, that's BS. That's straight BS. When people say, "Oh well, I didn't do it. I didn't say it. I was out, but you were there and you didn't say nothing." I didn't tell you to go beat the man over the head or the girl over the head, but I say, "Hey man, you need to chill that out. You need to go to your house with that. Something." But no, instead of, oh, you just being totally quiet, you hanging with some friends that's probably giggling about it, and you're not saying nothing, you are
but see,
complicit. So
that's situation.
therefore, you are racist. You are complicit in racism. So you are racist. You got to check racism. In the definition of
I'm
racism.
sorry that
Hold on,
you.
hold on. Let
I'm
me say this. You got to check racism. To be anti-racist is to not be racist because you are kicking against the natural quote unquote way of racism, the system itself. You are kicking against it. So therefore, because you are kicking against it, you are being anti. You can't be anti-racist and racist. So what I'm telling white people is if you are anti-racist and you stay on the anti-racist bus and you get on that bus and you stay on and you don't jump off when it gets too hot or the road can start doing this with shaking, it's just shaking, it gets too rough. You stay on that bus, you are not racist. You know why? Because you are anti-racist. Anti-racist and racist can't come together and be the same. You only become racist when you decide to step off the anti-racist bus because it's too hot. And hey, I either I'm loving this white supremacy and I'm benefiting from it, so I don't want to kick against white supremacy. I'm gonna just be quiet and benefit from it. But I don't say that I'm racist because I have black friends. Don't say that. So therefore, because you have black friends, a racist can't have, an actual racist can't have black friends. Just because you work with black people. Oh, you saying that an actual racist can't work around black people? You see what I'm saying? So now we're getting into anecdotals. Now we're getting into conversations that's kind of BS. It's not honest. Be honest about it. White supremacy started from way back in when they started and way before 1619, before they brought the slave ships over, when they were devising this plan to exploit black people. It started way back there. It didn't just start yesterday, or it didn't just start in recent history. We're still dealing with, you know why we're still dealing with today? Because enough white people are not anti-racist. And that's why I say the world, the country needs white people to be anti-racist so racism can end. When you see racism and it steps out your front door, you can check it. You're going to check it right away. And they got to tuck that racism back in because it's not acceptable. But when you're around these white people that are kind of racist and you're not saying nothing, and they probably going to go talk to Jimmy and talk to Susie and say, oh, this and this, and snicker and laugh about people getting killed, shot in the back 6 times and doing all this kind of stuff, and you not saying nothing? And you want to say, don't call me racist? You actually one of the worst racists it could be. You know why? Because at least I know that Jim Bob is racist because he is bold with it. But you are secret. You are assassinated killer racist. Like, we don't know that after you done snipe some people, you go away and nobody can know. And then you're like, I didn't shoot that person. I didn't kill that person. I just drove the car. I didn't rob the bank. That was Jim Bob. He was bold enough to walk out the car and go rob the bank. But did you receive any money? Did you get any benefit from it? Yes, I got benefit from it, but don't call me racist. Don't call me racist. You see what I'm saying?
So when you talk about this though, what is the outcome that you are looking for? What are you hoping to accomplish? I mean, we can sit and we could debate and have a conversation for hours. However, there needs to be an outcome. There needs to be an awareness. There needs to be some kind of plan, because right now what it sounds like is, it's almost like you would have to go out your door, and every day when you go out, you have to be on pins and needles. And I understand that may not be,
but that's what black people do.
That's not what. Well, see, I'm not white, so I don't. That's not my problem.
Black people stand on pins and needles all day, every day.
Well, I get that.
So,
but
if a white person could do it occasionally when they need to check racism, they'll be okay. They're not gonna die.
Peter, it's a two-way conversation.
and you've been talking for a while. I'm just saying.
I know this your show, but
right, I'm trying to run a show here.
I'm just saying, you can't. You still have to have. When you have these uncomfortable conversations, we still have to have some kind of solution, because right now, based on
I have a solution.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you have one? Because I got one.
Go ahead.
My solution is white people need to be anti-racist. That's my solution.
But you can't make people.
So therefore, you don't get upset when somebody calls you a racist. Don't be upset about that, because you're complicit.
People get upset. Most people is like a hit dog gonna squeal.
Right. So therefore, don't get you squeal. Why should I feel any kind of way when somebody calls you racist? Why should I?
Well, I'm not saying you should feel any kind of way, because that's not you being called
so,
that.
But guess what? If I'm gonna call it out, and then I get called racist for calling out that person being racist, And I say,
because
hey,
I feel like
and I'm telling them, and I don't want people to keep lying to themselves. This is the whole issue. People are lying to themselves saying, oh, I'm not racist because I'm nice to black people and nice to everybody. I don't see color. That's BS. They're not being honest. We're telling them what's going on. I'm pretty sure black people know what a racist is. Because black people, if they felt, okay, if white people have felt racism in some kind of way, if that's even a possibility, it's not. But it's even if it was a possibility, it's minute compared to the person, a black person that has experienced racism at a high level. It's minute. It's you shouldn't even be comparing it in the same sentence. That's like me saying, "Oh, somebody slapped me in my face." Oh, but somebody shot me in my face, and you trying to compare the two. No, I got shot in the face. Don't even mention that you got slapped. That's just trying to diminish what I just said. Now, if you got shot in the face too, we can talk. But if you can't say, "Oh, I got a big bullet hole in my head," but somebody just popped you up the head, side of the head, and walked by the business. You gonna try to compare it? What? You see what I'm saying? That even in that is racist. You're actually telling that person that my feelings are more superior than yours. My feelings are valid and more superior to yours because it's so minute that you thought it was so comparable to my big thing. So that means my little feeling is even superior than your, or equal to, greater than or equal to your big thing. That is white superiority complex. And they don't even know that they're doing this. They're actually doing this and they don't even know that this is taking place. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that white people need to be honest. Be honest with yourselves, white people. I'm saying this to everybody. Be honest with yourself, white people. I'm done with the BS. I'm done with trying to coddle your white guilt. We're done. Black people are done with it. And I'm just trying to tell you how to not look racist. That's really what I'm trying. I love everybody. I love white people. I even love racists, but I don't love what they do. But I love them. I love everybody. So what I'm trying to say to people, and why I started this podcast, this is why I started, because I want to show white people how to not be racist or look racist or be shown as racist. Because if you are not shown as racist, there goes the white guilt. There goes feeling bad about something. When you know what to do to not feel that white guilt anymore, why wouldn't you want to listen? Do you like the white guilt? Do you like the white guilt that you feel? I know, because nobody likes to feel guilty for something, especially if they don't think they did it. But what we're trying to say is you did do it. And it's okay that you did it. Now we're trying to tell you how to be better and not do it again. And then you just continue on and do it again. And then gonna say, oh, but don't call me racist. How dare you? You disrespectful black person calling white people racist. Yes, I'm gonna call white people racist because you are racist and you are benefit from the system of racism. If you are not anti-racist and you're white, I'm gonna say it again. If you are not anti-racist, then you are racist because you are benefiting and standing by, whether you do it, help do it, or you reap the benefits of it. You benefit from a racist system that benefits white people, and you are white and you benefit from it. And people talk about, well, nobody writes me a check to go cash it. That's not what white privilege is. White privilege is not having to have a talk with your kids about color until you have to have it. Some white people go and say, oh, we don't see color, love everybody. They don't have to deal with color because the color doesn't affect them. Black people have to sit their kids down at the tender age of 5, 6, or 7 and say, hey, sweetie, you are black. You have to work harder than everybody else. You got to strive better. When they having 1 degree, you got to have 2. When they having 2 degrees, you got to have 7. If you want that job. That's what I'm saying. We strive for the best. Black people strive for the best, but we have to have these uncomfortable conversations with our kids. White people can be ignorant about it. And then they benefit from the system. Black people can't be ignorant about it, and they don't be benefiting from the system. Black people have to educate ourselves about it. White people don't have to educate themselves about it, and they benefit. Black people are highly educated, nowadays, and they don't benefit from the system. White people don't have to be educated and still benefit from the system, because the implicit bias, the different systemic racism, it doesn't affect white people at all, not even a little bit. And then they're gonna say, I experienced this systemic racism, and then a white person gonna say, well, a kid looked at me in second grade and looked at me mean, so I've experienced racism too. What? No, you experienced maybe a bully, or a kid that was taught in bigotry, or a kid that might be prejudiced against white people because of slavery and white supremacy. So it's their children, they don't know how to control themselves, and they act in stupid ways, and they might act prejudiced, but you didn't experience racism. You experienced prejudice. You experienced bigotry. A black person can be bigoted. A black person can be prejudiced. A black person can be bigoted, but they cannot be racist. That is a white thing. It's a system that upholds white supremacy. Therefore, I'm not white. I can't benefit from a system that benefits white people, because people look at me, they never will identify me as a white man. So I cannot benefit from this system called racism. It's a system that upholds white supremacy. You saw that on January 6th. They uphold whiteness above all else. They didn't think them white people was going to do that. We knew, you knew. We had more intel than the FBI, the CIA, ATF, DFACS. We had more intel than all them combined. We knew those white people was going to charge the Capitol. We knew, but they didn't think they would.
Charge the Capitol.
Right, but even before that day, black people knew that they were going to charge the Capitol, and a lot of white people didn't know that black people knew that. I was talking when that was happening. I was actually at work talking on the phone, and a guy, he's Hispanic, and I was talking to him, and we were handling some business, a business transaction, and he was like, yeah, and what are they doing? Trump is talking, but they're not getting ready to stop them from, we knew they was gonna do this. Why is there so little guards? And we're watching it in real time as it's happening. We already knew days before, weeks before, that white people were gonna storm the Capitol. Black people knew that. How did the CIA?
We weren't there.
Right, that's why we weren't there. So you see what I'm saying? White people didn't think. The white people that were watching the Capitol didn't think that white people were gonna actually go and do that. They thought they were just gonna protest. And imagine if somebody from Russia came over and put on a MAGA hat and walked into the Capitol and took the whole Capitol over. Our number one enemy, Russia, took over the Capitol because of whiteness. We uphold whiteness. We're living in a system that benefits white people and was created that way. It's built on racism. See, white people can say that it's not built on racism because if it is, then because if it is, then they can say, wait a minute, then black people can't be racist because, our founding fathers founded this country and they were white. So if everybody's racist, if everybody's not racist, then it is built on racism. You see what I'm saying? So that's it. I mean, don't be complicit in racism. Be anti-racism, white people. I'm trying to teach white people how, and I'm looking at the camera for a reason. So you white person that's listening, I'm trying to teach you not to be racist, not to be perceived racist, not to perceive that you holding up racist views. Stop saying that you not racist because you have a black friend. Stop saying that you not racist because you know black people. Stop saying that you not racist because your husband is black. Don't say that. He married you because y'all had a baby out of wedlock and he wanted to do the right thing. Come on, be honest. Be honest with us. Don't just, you see what I'm saying?
Can I chime in?
Go ahead. We gonna close up soon, so it's a little past the time.
you can't stereotype and say, you know, just because a person married outside their race, that it's because
Not necessarily.
they
I'm not
they were
saying that.
pregnant.
I'm not
But
saying
that's
that.
the way. Okay, I
But
get that.
I'm not
I
saying.
I
I'm
get
just saying.
that.
I'm just speaking in general. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, so um, I lost my train of thought. Ain't that about a bitch?
You were saying you
Uh,
can't. You
you
can't
can't
just say that.
stereotype and
Right.
say um that in those different segues that white people are racist.
Mm.
We may not be the ones to teach people how not to be racist. You may not be the one, and I'm not saying you aren't.
Right.
I'm just saying, you can't teach people how not to be something. I think that, excuse me, one thing about education is you have to want to learn. That's one. That's numero flipping uno.
Right.
You have to want to educate yourself and be more mindful of your surroundings and the people that you deal with. I love everybody.
Hmm.
However, I love everybody until they do something that affects me directly, not indirectly in all cases, but most of the time it affects me directly. Um, I hear you say, I'm trying to teach you how not to be racist,
Right. And I don't have to do that either.
but that's not your job.
Right. But I have a
So,
passion for it, so I decided to do it.
so you have a passion for it. I have a question to that.
Sure.
Why?
Why do I have a
What
passion?
happened to, hold on. What happened to you that has made you so passionate about race, stereotyping of race, white supremacy?
Hmm.
Because, see, in order for somebody to understand, like, if someone asks me why I'm passionate about criminal justice, I could give them the
Right.
truth and the hell of a truth.
So let me give you that. Let me give you that.
Okay.
So why I do what I do, and I'm gonna say it like this. Why I do what I do is because I see nobody in the county doing it. Where I am, we witness like somebody getting killed by the police. We witnessed Ahmaud Arbery. They was like, oh, we march for that, and then it's just like, oh, we don't care about it no more. Then we got people that sit at home thinking that, hey, I'm just good with everybody. And what's happening is people are sitting there dying. Life is short. People are dying. We're in a desperate situation and you just chilling. Like, there's gunfire and people are dying and you just at home chilling eating popcorn while we dealing with gunshots and people dying. And for me to not say nothing, for me to stand by and just be like, okay, well, you do what you do. That has nothing to do with me. I will be held accountable. First of all, I'm a Christian. I love Jesus Christ, and I don't think that's what Jesus would do. When they were attacking Mary Magdalene for adultery, what did Jesus do? You without the first stone, you without the sin, cast the first stone. That's what they said. He didn't stand by and watch people do somebody wrong. He said something about it. When he bridged the gap between the Samaritans and the Jews because they didn't deal with each other. And he spoke to a
So
Samaritan woman of all people. You're not supposed to even speak to women like that back in those days. You would rather speak to a man or her husband.
so my question to you in a summation,
Mm-hmm.
just so that I make sure I can confirm understanding,
Right.
is you saw what was happening and what is continuously still happening um, in society, and you said,
It's not
I'm
working.
tired.
I'm tired, and it's not working. We've been doing it for centuries, and it hasn't been working. We have to do something drastic now. We have to force the conversation with white people, because white people can just they don't have to have it. They don't have to
Right.
have the conversation at all. They don't have to have it
So,
at all.
so my cat just scratched the hell out of me. Sorry
Yeah, I
about
see.
that.
Yeah, I see you. I see that. Good thing I didn't have that on. I didn't have that screen up, so you good.
She was like just trying to climb up my leg.
Right, right.
But um, so and I asked this because my passion is criminal justice reform,
Mm-hmm.
juvenile justice reform.
Mm-hmm. We need that.
Um, and the reason why I'm not going to go into the reason why because this isn't my show, but one of the things that we talk about um, in our organization is systemic racism.
Right.
We talk about desegregation. We talk about, we've had the argument of so many people have argued and said, well, based on the numbers, more white people are in prison than black. No, wrong again,
Right.
because black people make up a very small portion of this country,
Very.
for one. And so when you really look at the numbers, there are more blacks in prison than there are whites in certain states. So I ask you what happened to you because it helps me to
Right.
understand.
I experienced
Uh,
racism in multiple cities and states. I experienced
well,
racism.
not just that, and that's what I'm saying. It
That too.
helps me to understand why you do the things you do
But
and why you always in the hot seat.
right, because people I'm a conversationalist, so I love to have good conversations, productive
Right.
conversations. So and then I hate when people BS and not honest about the conversation. If you're gonna engage the conversation, at least respect the conversation enough to be honest with yourself and others. Being
And
dishonest in a conversation only helps the person that's being dishonest. It doesn't help the conversation or the people that's in it.
right. Now that's the fact.
That, and that,
That is a very true fact.
and that's why I stand by that.
And
That's
I respect you for that. I respect the fact that um I feel like we all should have something. And let me finish, please, and because
hmm
I know you got to go.
yeah. We gotta go.
When I say that I respect you for being passionate about your craft.
Right.
I respect you for not being afraid to go out and say how you feel. Um, and I respect the passion most of all because again, we all need to have something that we are passionate about.
hmm
We all need to have something that engages us and keeps us on our toes,
Right.
so to speak. Um, that is very important. I would love to have another conversation with you.
Yeah, we will. You know.
Um, I would love to invite you to a conversation
Sure.
that we can talk about and be very candid about. I'm in the process of setting up some stuff now, so I thank you for having me.
Yeah, I
I thank
appreciate your
you.
time. Appreciate your
I,
time.
I appreciate the fact that you valued me enough to listen to my portion and what little I may have said or didn't say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just think we need to come up with a solution. I
Right.
think, and I know your solution is stop
Anti-racist.
being stop being racist.
No, no, that's not my solution. That's my solution is not stop being racist. The way you, the way you cannot be racist. I'm trying to tell them how you cannot be racist
Right,
is you have to be anti-racist. You have to be the opposite of racist. You can't just
right.
be complicit with it. You can't just be silent. You can't just be nice to people because everybody's nice to people that's nice to them. You can't. I mean, what are we doing here? We just gonna do the same old, and then 100 years down the road, our generations are dealing with the same problem. For what? When white people can man up or woman up and deal with the uncomfortableness for split seconds of their day, and we
Do you
can
think
end
that has
racism.
happened?
That
Do you
has.
think?
That has.
Okay,
So therefore there are white people that are not racist. You know why? Because they are anti-racist. Every
well,
time they see racism, they check it. And they don't never and they can never be racist around the anti-racist because they gonna check it. People can't be racist around the anti-racist and feel comfortable. When people be inside a room and they just jiving and talking, and then they get caught on film or on video saying, "Oh, that N word" or whatever like that. Those people are complicit the same way because how did that person feel comfortable enough to say the N word around you?
now that's a whole nother conversation
Right.
because
So the
you and I on that will
mm,
agree to disagree
mm,
because I feel like we are somewhat responsible
for
because
racism.
we no to the N word situation.
Well, I mean, you just because just because black people say it, I don't think that it says, oh, because y'all say it, we can say it too. I
No,
don't
no,
think.
no. Now I'm not saying that's okay.
Okay. So you
I
said we
am
shouldn't say it.
I'm I'm saying this. You and I are African Americans, black, Nigerian, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We are people of the ethnic persuasion.
Right.
However,
Mm-hmm.
me calling you the N word, I don't care whether it's an ER or a GGA.
Mm-hmm.
It should not happen.
And you know, and I agree with that to a certain extent.
And the
Um.
reason, hold on, the reason why it should not happen is because regardless to where the word was derived from slavery. So
Right.
because the word was derived from slavery, I don't care how you put it. I
We.
understand we use it as a form of expression.
Right.
It has been used to explain something, but I wish
We're trying to
a
turn.
person would.
This is us taking. This is us trying to take lemons, water, and sugar and make lemonade.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This is what we're. That's what us saying the N word is. I used to feel a way where like, oh, black people shouldn't say it. I'm not gonna judge anybody for saying it because that's something that we can own and we try to flip it for better. So I'm not gonna say anything on that because that's I feel like that's what people feel like they want to do. Let them do that. Um, I
I do
think
feel like you can do what you want to do because you're grown.
right.
But I myself, I personally feel as African Americans, yeah, we may, as they say, own that word. But why would you want to own something that was derived from the oppression and the hurts, the anger, the punishment, the diminishment
I get that, but guess
of
what?
our
So then
culture?
we can't say MF, that comes from slavery. We can't say the B word, that comes from slavery too. So I mean,
I guess that word to me is just a little bit more offensive.
right,
I'll call anybody an MF, and
right, but that comes from slavery.
I try not to call people the B word.
Yeah.
However, that word to me is a little bit more spiteful because you don't want people. I guess I don't like it because you can call anybody an MF, and yes, it may have come from that, but
Right.
that wasn't; those weren't the words that were primarily used.
You can call
MFs and
you.
MFs and Bs were not primarily used. Now I do know that from African American studies, plus talking with a professor from Cornell.
Right.
The main words were the main word was the N word,
Right.
and they use that word because between N word and the bucks and this that that buck and that N word is is one of them things that is a pet peeve for me. And visiting plantations from South Carolina, I even visited the plantation where I forgot this little boy's name, where the white boy who went and killed all those people at the black church,
Hmm.
he went to this plantation, and the plantation that we were on, I got the brochure, but I don't have it with me, was the main plantation used along the slave trade lines that where slave traders stopped to have slave trade.
Right.
So he went here, and the first thing he said is, "The South will rise again." Well, first of all, I wish people stop saying that
Yeah,
because the
because
South lost.
this, and the South is not gonna rise again because black people ain't gonna
Well, they lost.
black people and white people that are anti-racist ain't gonna let it happen.
They well, regardless to that, they lost.
Yeah,
So
but
you can't rise again
you know,
if
they
you
could
was
try to
racist.
rise again, but I don't think that we won't allow that to happen. You know what I'm
The
saying?
whole point, the point to that was if you were had never risen in the first place, again means that you were going to do something
Oh, I see what you mean. I see that
right.
they never rose in
You
the first place because they lost.
correct. So for you to say the South
Well,
will rise
I
again,
guess they try to say, well, rise and pick up arms, like get up out of their beds and pick up arms. I think that's what they mean, not rise to victory, because they ain't win. So,
right?
yeah,
And but his definition was, we won the first time, we'll win again.
what?
Well, you lost the first time, you uneducated twit,
Right?
and then you go and you shoot up a church that you had been visiting for almost 2 weeks. You had been there as a member, you even joined. So when you talk about racism, you have to start talking about it from the top down. Usually you can't you say it's from the bottom up because that's the way the hierarchy is
Let me
supposed
ask
to
you
run.
one last question. This is gonna be the last question. You speaking of Dylan Roof, because I know the story
Yes,
well.
yes.
So imagine if Dylan Roof would have went into the church the first time and black people would have been like, "What you doing here? Get out!" You know what I'm saying? Because of the mistrust of white people coming into their neighborhoods, gentrifying it, doing what they want to it, exploiting us, and going about their business to their white neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? They'll build a shop in our neighborhoods, but live in the white neighborhood
That's our
and
fault.
exploit. Right? But no, it's not our fault because we don't own our buildings.
That's our fault.
Why is it our fault? Did we get houses and land from people
We
that
don't have to get houses. Let me
white
tell you
people were
something.
getting that? They got that free.
They may have gotten that. See,
What are you talking about?
we're gonna continue this conversation
Right.
because it is our fault that we don't own our own stuff. It is our fault there that we don't. There's a black bank out here, and the bank
And you
was
gotta drive to
created,
it.
huh?
You gotta drive to it. It's far. Everybody don't have resources to get there and open up
It's
a
in
bank account.
Atlanta.
Right.
It's
So
in Atlanta.
everybody, you can ask people, even some white people, and even white people don't have certain transportation to get to where it go. They gonna bank in Atlanta. Like, what are you talking about?
You don't have to drive to that bank. I'm sorry.
Well, I
You
mean, but certain stuff you want to do at the bank,
You do, but they
right?
have, with this Zoom shit, this Zoom stuff going on,
Hmm.
they zooming people. They are actually,
That's good.
it's a black owned bank
There's one in
that is
Savannah too.
providing black minorities. They are providing them with funds to get what they need.
Yeah, loans
But
and stuff. Yeah.
you said the same thing. You said a mouthful earlier when you said we have educated African Americans out here.
Mm-hmm.
And those educated African Americans, if we stop fighting so much amongst ourselves and we stop knocking each other off and we work towards a common goal, I respect your goal that you have. I
You,
may not agree with all your
methods.
I may not agree with everything, but I respect it. So if I come to you and I say, Peter, I need a conversation, whether you like me or dislike me, I gotta say, I believe that you will respect the fact that I have had a conversation with you
Right.
and we can sit down and have another conversation.
Right.
Whether we agree or disagree, we can have a conversation. So I could come to you and say, Peter, I got a project. This is what I'm working on. This is me helping to bridge the gap between African Americans so that we don't have to uh, so much focus on racism. Because if we focus on one another, if we focus on helping one another,
Mm-hmm.
we focus on building up one another,
Right.
which is one of those things that bothers me about African American women. We we thrive so hard to be divas and blessed
And I get
and we
that. But see,
so
I would interject this, and I see where you're going with it, and I kind of disagree with with the way you're going, but I get that if we come together, we're stronger together. I get that part of it, but the other part of it that is our fault, that everything was done by design to the black community when it comes to. I get that we are supposed to take responsibility for consuming this stuff, but it takes a strong mind, and everybody ain't strong. It takes strong minds to go against the grain of what's been pushed towards us by design. It takes a very strong mind, and it takes luck. It takes strong mind. It takes luck. It literally takes an act of God Himself to try to get someone that's been programmed, because that's what they do. They program us and they indoctrinate us to think this way. Like, we even have implicit by about our own selves. We think we're thugs. We think we're gangsters. Not just white people. We think it.
well
So
see
that's
and
what I'm saying. So
that's
that's
what I'm
it, but that's by design. So partially I can say, hey, once we know better, we can do better. But as far as being ignorant and just not knowing what you don't know, you don't know. You see what I'm saying? You don't know that you don't know it. So you just playing into the hand that is pushing these ideas on you through the music and through. I remember being in high school through because I was listening to music. I wanted to sell drugs, but I grew up in a better, I grew up in the so-called suburbs. But I wanted to sell drugs because the music told me it's cool to sell drugs, and that's what girls like. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I started trying to sell drugs.
Peter, I'm going to invite you to a conversation in
You see what
two
I'm
weeks.
saying? So
In
we
2 weeks,
can't.
and we're gonna talk about. We're gonna continue this conversation about. Except the conversation is going to be complicity and the African American culture. That's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about a plan to make our people become more unified instead of divided.
Right,
And we're gonna talk about real life shit. So I know you said our time is short. It's
right.
12 o'clock.
I'm about to get up out of here.
And
About to get up
I
out
need
of
to
here.
get up in the morning, but I really
Right.
appreciate and thank you
I,
for having me.
well, tomorrow night. No, I appreciate you. I really appreciate you for taking this time out. All right, and so I just want to say tomorrow we're gonna be on Instagram, okay?
Okay.
And from ten to 11 as well. So Tuesdays and Thursdays we're gonna be on Instagram, and then from
What
Monday,
you talking about tomorrow?
um, well, I'm still coming up with that because I'm juggling between a few things. Because I've been reading some articles and I reading some things that different angles, and you see how everybody was talking to all this stuff online, but nobody showed up. None of those people showed up in the chat room. So they were talking all this online, And you did I have a difficult conversation with you? We didn't agree on everything, but we had a pretty good conversation. And I was just trying to
I
say,
like conversations where
right,
we can talk.
right, and that's what I was inviting them to. I said, hey, come talk about it, online and share your views. But they didn't want to get on because I guess I don't know. The excuse would be I was putting my kids to bed. The excuse would be oh I can't have a good conversation with you, Peter, because like we've had a conversation before. You don't even know me. Like in real life, like if you saw me at my workplace and you see me in my real life, I'm not doom and loom and gloom and doom and oh my gosh, my life is over because white people are trying to kill me and suppress me. No, I'm not like that. I strive for the best. I do stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. I strive for the best in the workplace. Like if people saw me, if you see me in the workplace, they be like, Peter, he's doom and gloom. He's the most happiest out of everybody in the room. When he walks into the room, he lights up the whole room. Like I'm that kind of person, but I just can't take BS.
Right.
And I
I'm
love to
with
have good conversations. So
I'm with you on that because I don't
mm,
like a bunch of bullshit either.
right.
I don't like a lot of BS either. So
Uh,
yeah, anytime you would like for me to come back, let me know.
um,
I definitely want to sit down though and have a colorful conversation. Uh,
right.
Sip me some wine while we have that conversation.
Okay. All
So
right.
thank you so much,
No problem.
Peter,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
and have a good night.
You too. You take care. You have a good night. All right.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye. Yeah. So I just want to say this before I go. It was a good conversation. For those people that were saying that I can't have conversations and you just scared. I get it. There's some people that are just scared to have conversations, and whether it's about getting on camera, they're scared about it, or they're stage fright or whatnot. Say you scared. Don't say that you can't have a conversation with me because I can have conversations with people. I'm able to do that. I've had I have conversations all day long. That's my job. Is to do deals and to place orders and do all kind of stuff. That's what I do all day. So for you to say that and then not know me, thinking you're gonna say that I'm like this because I posted X, Y, and Z and I made a comment about this, you don't know me. The point of this talk was to let white people know you don't have to be racist no more. You don't have to be racist no more. You can be anti-racist and you can ride the anti-racist bus with all the people of color and all the other white people that are anti-racist, and we just join together and we destroy racism once and for all. And it's going to take drastic change. It's not going to take being nice to people. And it's nice to be nice to people. That's nice. I mean, anybody, the most evil person in the world can be nice to somebody that's nice to them. But I'm just trying to say, you being nice is not necessarily going to end racism. It's going to let it continue on. It's called being passive. It's called being complicit in the crime of white supremacy and racism. You just allowing it to happen. I'm not saying drop kick everybody that's racist that you see. I'm not saying slap everybody that's racist that you see. I'm not saying, chop everybody in the throat that you see as racist. But I am saying say something to them. Say, hey, that's not acceptable here. I know this is a workplace, but not to be disrespectful. That comment that you made is very offensive and it's not acceptable while I'm around. I don't know what you can do at your house, but right in this workspace, this is a safe workspace for us to be on one accord and nice. We don't got time for that kind of comment. Something. But for you to just be like, giggle off, even though you don't agree with it, you just allowed and accepted to go on. So if you listen to this channel is to help white people. It's also to educate white people. It's also to help black people and educate black people as well. But mainly, I'm going to be talking to white people because black people been having this conversation. White people haven't been having this conversation, and I'm going to help you through it. I can show you how to not be racist, not to look racist, how to become an ally. I don't have to do this, but I know that I need you to be this because for for this nation's survival, we need white people to be anti-racist, and that's all I want to say. So if you white and you listening to this, and you're gonna play this back tomorrow during the day, I need you to be anti-racist. Not just being nice, not just having a couple black friends that you see occasionally, not just having a black homegirl, not just having a black husband or a black wife. We need you to be anti-racist and be an ally. Actually stand with us, not stand on the sidelines and then reap the benefits of white supremacy, of racism, and then say, "Oh, I'm not racist. Oh, he cut me a check, but I'm not racist." So that's what I'm talking about. We need white people to be anti-racist. And once you do that, you check all the boxes. This is a white person we can trust. This is a white person that is willing to denounce white supremacy and come forward with the rest of America in stopping this thing called racism. Till next time. This was a good talk. But next time we gonna really have a good talk. And I think you guys need to come on and have a conversation with me. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see your views and see what you're doing. So till next time, y'all guys be safe. Don't forget to follow me on Peter Anderson Show, and I'll be on at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And I'm doing this 5 days a week. So you have a friend that needs to that has let me stop that. Yeah, also subscribe on my YouTube channel. I didn't see that many people on YouTube tonight, so also subscribe to that channel as well. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, I definitely gonna show white people how to not be racist anymore, or not look racist at least, or know how to tuck their racism in better, and know how to spot racism when you see it, and not think, oh, is that racist or is it not? I'm gonna show you how to do that. Take my time out to do that for you. But yeah, go ahead and support the channel as well if you have time. Like I said, this is time out of my day to do this. I am passionate about this. That's why I'm doing it like that. But go ahead, definitely go ahead, support the channel. Hit me on my Cash App. Support $1, $5, $2, $3. Just something, to support. If not, also support my album as well. Get the album up there. Yeah, support my album MTV Sundays. Okay. All right. So until next time. Okay. Until next time. This is Peter Anderson signing off. Hey, y'all take care. All right.